one of the nicest Nesivas Shaloms. Ready for something very special. What happens is Moshe Rabbeinu is going, and he sees a sneh. He sees a bush, and it's on fire, but it's not being consumed. And from there, the Bas Kol comes out. Hashem starts talking to him. The question is, if Hashem wanted to get his attention, there are many ways of getting his attention. Why did it have to be dafka, a bush that's on fire and not getting consumed? It could have had elephants twirling, could have had a mountain or trees, and think about it. Hashem could do anything. He chose to get Moshe Rabbeinu's attention specifically by having a bush that is on fire and not getting consumed. Why? He says in Nesivas Shalom that this was the beginning of the whole shlichus, as Hashem was going to make Moshe Rabbeinu his messenger. He says, in this mara, in this vision, tamun kol soid hashlichus. It was a very, very important soid. It's like the foundation of the shlichus. What is it? Moshe Rabbeinu saw the sneh boyer ba'esh. That is referring to Klal Yisrael is like the bush. We were surrounded by koiches hatumah that were trying to eat us up. We were on the Mem Teshari Tumah. The fire was getting to our core. But the sneh einenu ukol. But yet the bush does not get consumed. And that is reflecting she'enim nisrafim legamri el noiser bahem adayin kosu dechiyusa. That Klal Yisrael, even though we're in the fire of Tumah, but our core, our chelik elakam yimal mamish, was not getting consumed. Vayomer Moshe says, this is really interesting. Asura nova eres mara hagodol hazeh. This is really interesting to me. Madua lo yiver hasneh. Why taka not? It's on fire. Why is there still a kusta d'chiyusa, a kernel of life, like we heard tonight? She's eating treif and she's this, but she made an ashayatzar. So interesting. Madua lo yiver hasneh. I'm working with kids off the derech for almost 20 years. You see kids who were atheists, you see kids who are full of tattoos, you see kids who were off, eating on Yom Kippur, and then all of a sudden you see they pop back up and they're from, and years later you see the success. It's so interesting. What is this all about? How do you have a person surrounded by tumah? Everything we're doing is to keep tumah away from inside of our home. And somehow it ended up in the house, from the inside. All those beautiful gedarim that we had, and we tried to block everything. The nicest chashuv of people in Klal Yisrael, and inside is all the tumah. But you'll see that if we had that level of tumah, we would be consumed. I would think, how could you ever come back from there? Imagine not being part of a community, not being part of a yeshiva, being off the derech, doing everything. How do you actually climb back up? How does that chelik elakam yimal not get destroyed? And this is what Hashem was showing him. Look, there's a piece of this thing, that core, that will not get destroyed no matter how much fire is around it. The message to Moshe Rabbeinu was, this is Klal Yisrael. Klal Yisrael, im heim shruyim b'chazut tumah, although we are dwelling in so much tumah, umeshukam b'mem teshari tumah, we were immersed in the 49th level of tumah, and we were bowing down to idols. How is it possible? That was Moshe Rabbeinu's question. He looks at it, he says, this is really interesting. You're telling me this kid can come back? Really? You think Klal Yisrael can be redeemed? How is that possible? Isn't it interesting? And that's why, in the Hemshech HaDvarim, between the conversation between Moshe Rabbeinu and Hashem, Moshe Rabbeinu says, V'hein lo yaminu li. They're not going to believe me. Now, what does that mean? So cute. I'm going to add in the cute part. He doesn't say the cute part, but I think it's the cute part. Let me tell you what I think is cute. Pashut Pshat of V'hein lo yaminu li is that this is what was supposed to happen. Moshe Rabbeinu comes back after this whole thing. He was outside shepherding. He sees this whole sneh, talks to Hashem, goes back to the people. What's supposed to happen afterwards? He would have gathered the people, Zakanim and everyone gathering around the rock. I got news for you. Come. Okay, Moshe, he was just Moshe then. He wasn't Rabbeinu. He was a shepherd. Right? He says, you're not going to believe what happened to me. First he's going to, hello, testing, 1, 2. Is this mic on? I was out shepherding, and there was a bush. And it was on fire. But it wasn't burning. uncomfortable stares in the crowd. What's he smoking? No, really, I'm telling you. It was on fire, but it wasn't burning. And okay, kids, you can go back home now. He's Nebuch, heat stroke. He was out there too much. You spend too much time in the heat with sheep and you start seeing things. No. And then God, he told me, I'm going to redeem you. I'm your leader. And they're like putting him on a stretcher, throwing water on him. Okay, it's going to be fine, Moshe. Just come with us. Straight jacket, bring him to the psych ward. That's what he said. V'hein lo yaminu li. You want me to go back? I'm supposed to sell this? I'm supposed to go back to Klal Yisrael and tell them that you came to me in a burning bush. It was burning, but it was on fire, but it wasn't burning. Really, guys, listen. They're not going to believe me. Says in Nesivas Shalom, that wasn't what it means. They believed in Hashem. They were maminim b'nei maminim. They believed in Moshe Rabbeinu. You know what they didn't believe in? Themselves. Pirish lo yitachen she'amuna etzlam adayim b'tahara v'lo nifkama b'yosim mishukam b'diyuta tachtoin she'amemtes d'misavusa ki choyshish hoya Moshe Rabbeinu she'koyches atuma kvar kilu b'hem gamas akusa d'chiyusa zoy ashoy she'amuna v'im kein lo yishayich kiyum hakoyach she'yamud lehem ligol mitzrayim. He thought that the fire is too much. It affected them too much. And then when he goes ahead and he tells them, guys, I got great news for you. You're wanted. Mashiach is coming to save you. They're going to be like, come on. It can't be true. That he thought that they're not going to believe me that Hashem really could want them. Imagine Eliyahu Hanavi pulls up before Mashiach comes. Eliyahu is going to come, or Mashiach comes, pulls up in the middle of Manhattan Friday night. He parks his donkey and probably get towed. And he puts the donkey in front of a club, goes up to the club Friday night, and he sees a bunch of Jewish kids, Nebuch, Rachmana litzlan, smoking whatever, machal whatever, dressed like whatever, eating whatever, and he says, guess what? I had a nevuah. Hashem told me that He wants you. I'm rescuing you. We're going to get out of here. We're going to Yerushalayim. What are the kids in the club going to say? Moses, you got the wrong place. You're looking for Williamsburg. What are you looking for? Looking for 770, not 770 Fifth Avenue. This is a club. God didn't send you. This is impossible. What's impossible? Not that they don't believe in Hashem. Not that they don't believe. There's a mistaken address over here. It's impossible that Hashem wants me. That was the problem. That they wouldn't be able to believe that Hashem wants them. And what was the answer? Hashem answers, Moshe Rabbeinu, Shal na'alecha me'al raglecha. Take off your shoes from your feet. Ki ha'makom asher ata omed elav ad mas kodeshu. The place, makom means physical place, that you're standing is holy ground. He says, no, like a makom, like vihaltztu in the sugya. This thing that now that we're talking about, we're dealing about a topic, is Kodesh Kadoshim. Yisrael heim dargas Kodesh Kadoshim. Yisrael, Klal Yisrael, even doing the biggest averis of the Avodah Zarah, are Kodesh Kadoshim. You're talking about my kids now, you got to take off your shoes. Admas Kodesh. Anybody ever debates you or wants to talk about kids at risk, you have to tell them, we're talking now, entering a subject about talking about Yiddish Kinderlich, Admas Kodesh. I don't care what averis they're doing. That's what Hashem told him. Yisrael him dargas kodesh kadoshim v'Yehudi, and a Jew, afim hu mushuka b'mem shari tuma. Even if he is immersed in mem shari tuma, I don't care how many tattoos they have. Moisif lehiskayim by koyach emuna. They still internally have that flame. Asher einenu ukol. Like Reb Nachman Melechevich says, a Yid has to believe that he believes. Yehudi tzarech lahamin shehu maimin. Person has to believe. Sometimes our Amunah, we're not sure. Do I really believe? If I really had Amunah, would I do this Avera? If I really had Amunah, would I really be so nervous? You have to believe that you believe. And even if you are margish, even if you feel that your Amunah is damaged, chas v'shalom, yamin, you should believe shebepnimi is nafshay maminu. Even if you think, I don't know if I really believe, you should know deep down, yeah. If they put the gun to your head and they said, bow down to the aisle, you'll sacrifice yourself at Kiddush Hashem. Deep down, you should know you're a Maimon. Ella, except there's thick clouds that are blocking the light of Emunah. If it's sunny in the middle of the day, and then all of a sudden we have one of those times it's so dark outside from the clouds, it means there's no sun, There's nothing wrong with the sun. Something's blocking between the rays of the sun and us. So too, we need to understand we are maminim, b'nei maminim. It's in our DNA. So many stories by the Nazis, Yimach Shemam, and other stories throughout the ages that people who were machal everything and were beating up Jewish people who were like the mafia, that they were meiser nefesh themselves. I wrote about them in my books. There's so many documented stories. The last minute, meiser nefesh for Hashem. Why? Because it's the sneh boyer ba'esh v'hasneh einenu uko. There is nothing that can possibly damage the chelik ilika mimal mamish. And that's why they can always come back and they can always rebuild. V'atam, why? Mipnei she'emuna mushreshes b'pnimiyus nafshai shall kol Yehudi me'avos aviseinu. Emuna is mushresh, is ingrained in the internal essence of our soul, of every Jew from all of the generations and all the Mesiras Nefesh of all the generations. It's implanted inside of us. Kemaimer, HaKadosh Baruch Hu LaMoshe, like HaKadosh Baruch Hu told Moshe, Banai, Ma'aminim b'nei Ma'aminim heim. My children, they are believers, the children of believers, and that never goes away. We never have to doubt if our children are Ma'aminim, even if they're so sick to say, I don't believe in God. We have over 40, for sure, over 40 kids who said they were atheists who are no longer atheists. And I always say, and the kicker is, none of them got answers to their questions. We all have the same questions. That's not what makes you an atheist, and that's not what, by solving those answers, which you can never answer, those questions which you can't anyway, doesn't take it away. That's not the sugya. There's no problem with the motherboard. There's no problem with that internal chip inside. It is not damaged. All of this was shown to Moshe Rabbeinu in the vision of the sneh of that bush. Shebepnimi yisnafshim shel Yisrael, that you should know inside, Kayim koyach emunah, the emunah is there, it's strong. V'yesh lehem es hakusa d'chiyusa shemikoyach yuchlu lihigal miMitzrayim, and internally they have the koyach to be redeemed from Mitzrayim. If we had to make people have emunah, we can never bring anyone back. If we had to make kids from bad good, we can never make them good. The whole vart here is they're diamonds who have been thrown into the dirt. Hasneh einenu ukol. They are not damaged. You cannot damage a diamond, no matter how long it's sitting in schmutz. And we have to remember that. Now the question is, so Moshe Rabbeinu got all this message from Hashem's choice of the burning bush. But then he had a problem. I got to go back and sell it to the people, but I don't have a portable burning bush. So how am I going to prove to them that all this happened? And with that, we're going to do it next time, he explains the Isis, that Hashem gave him 3 magic tricks. And when you think about it, it's unbelievable. You needed a magic trick? And try this one, and if this doesn't work, try this one, and if this one doesn't work, I got a great magic trick. What do you got in your hand, Moshe? A stick? Whoa, great, I got a great stick trick. This is going to blow them away. And he's going to explain it beautifully and deeply, and he's going to answer also, at the end of the stick trick, which we know, it turned into a snake, but then afterwards it went back from a snake until a stick. So we look at it like, yeah, he needed it for the next show, because he needed a stick. But he's going to show us that that was really the main part of the whole trick of the message to Klal Yisrael, which we'll do next time. But Moshe Rabbeinu's message was, sneh could be boyer ba'esh, but ve'inenu ukol. And this is what we have to remember. We have kids who are involved in terrible things, fadarbin, terrible sickness. We have to know that inside all the pieces are perfectly intact. Hasneh boyer ba'esh, v'hasneh einenu ukol. It's a message that we need to have to believe in our children. No matter what they do, no matter what mishigas they're into, no matter what they do to their body, to themselves on the outside, there's no problem with their nefesh, with their neshama, the chelik l'kami mamish. And we have to have that emun in them.